Hey, Stoney here, and you're watching Dev versus Pro tournament. And this is the first round of the tournament with a total of 4 games. Let's jump right in.
All right. So first of all, let's look at the cards here. Measim going with the marksman spec with the tarantula and the marksman. One of my favorite starting units because all you need is chaff. Doxun picked up elite specialist with also with arc lights and stone collars.
Yeah, so interesting breakpoints just right off the bat, right? Blue crawlers do not get one shot by these tarantulas. There is 4 extra HP than there normally is, or rather, there's 4 more HP over what the tarantula has an attack, meaning that even though Measim has these wonderful chaff clear units that are tanky and hard to deal with, they're not going to efficiently clear. So I would say, just looking at the board right now, I think Doxun has a great shot at taking this first round, and that's something that you really want when you are elite. You want to get these early rounds rolling. You don't want to share too much experience with your opponent, and you want to start to build a lot of tempo. How do you feel about the two drafts here?
Absolutely, I agree. I've always talked about how Stonecaller is sort of the predator of the tarantula,
Yeah.
right? So right now, look at that. On the left-hand side, Stonecaller has lock onto the tarantula within his first volley. And the right-hand side, the chaff is dissipating. That means that Stonecaller is going to be focusing on the tarantula. Why do both tarantulas falls? I mean, there's just marksman left over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I'm going to cut it. And he's even going to get tower on the left.
I was going to say, and believe it or not, even though it may not seem like the case, 2 blue crawlers will destroy your tower so fast. But yeah, this early round goes to Measim, or not Measim. I just did it to you.
It's difficult when both names rhymes.
Yeah, so first round goes to Doxun. Some cards coming up, insta skip for Measim. I think there's some things to consider here. Unfortunately, we see like a 2-card combo that we would maybe like to play around at some point, right? Which is this idea of like fast teleportation or strike spec, the old strike spec, right? And redeploy. That can lead to some very interesting shenanigans, especially as elite spec. But yeah, both players end up skipping. Doxun adding on additional blue crawlers, going for tier 1 defense from the tower. And then we also have Measim getting his orange, his level 3 marksman, and adding on 2 storm callers. How do you feel about that decision line from both players?
I think for Measim, the Stonecallers is a very comfortable style. I've seen him play this style many, many times over. In fact, like before the Tarantulas, he almost exclusively plays Stonecaller Arclight into Melting Point, right? He's just so good into that kind of style. Doxun, in this side, in adding 2 additional blue callers, I think this will work just fine because the left side, as you can see, the Stonecaller was just locking onto the tarantula from the get-go. On the right-hand side, I wonder if there's going to be blue claws left over, and if it is, I think it's still going to be okay.
Yeah. I wonder if that was like an attempt to read maybe Measim developing into Stormcallers. I know for a fact Measim loves his Stormcallers. He likes to build them. I don't think I've ever seen a game where he doesn't build them in some sort of capacity. But that round going to Measim, it turns out there was just too much stuff on the field for these Stormcallers to clear efficiently. And round 3, Vulcan barrier. Okay, this is where it can get real spooky, right? This Vulcan can easily clear these blue crawlers. The experience gets way out of control, way too fast, and I think you'll agree with me that the bane of our latter experience as of late has been level 2 Vulcans with Scorch.
This could be a vote of confidence that the developers themselves also thinks that the Vulcans are a little overtuned.
I hope
so. So too. And is a smart decision, not just to this board, right? Is specifically to the elite spec. The problem with release spec is that it takes so long to bring a giant onto the board. If you don't have unit drops that is a giant, you're gonna have to delay your giant by at least one turn compared to other spec because you're bringing them into as level 2. So what that means is that Vulcan will be just shooting at medium-sized units and blue crawlers for a couple turns, hopefully getting to level 2.
And hitting that really important breakpoint that we need to hit, yeah. So we see a underground threat from Doxun get completely stuffed by this Vulcan. And I think things are going to get a little spooky here. Let's check that experience on this Vulcan, and it is ramping up already halfway there. If he gets any sort of credit on this kill for this marksman, which he doesn't, thankfully, things can get really out of control really fast. And look, these Stormcallers are still shooting at crawlers and falling over.
Oh boy, this is a huge round for Measim. One thing I noticed is that on the left-hand side, the shield bubble actually messed up Doxun's Arclight targeting. Those Arclight has been stuck on the shield bubble for pretty much all the way till their death. So big problem here starting to develop for Doxun.
Yeah. Is this our first? This is our first pack of unit drops. Measim goes for wraiths, or as the community loves to affectionately call them, donuts. And Doxun ends up going for phoenixes. I think the phoenixes is a great read from Doxun, personally. I think once your opponent sort of has these Stormcallers on the field, it's really hard to want to play or continue to develop marksman play. So I think Phoenixes are great for that, but I also wonder if that was just a good answer for the Wraiths in general here. Measim rounding out his comp on the right side by adding in another Vulcan and dropping oil. I don't know. This is looking pretty dire for Doxun. I don't see anything that can really answer what's on the field very efficiently.
Now, there's always the opportunity for Doxun to put down level 2 Stormcallers, because as we've seen on the last game, right? So Vulcans, as powerful as they are giants and they walk slowly. And a level 2 Stormcaller takes only about 3 to 4 volleys if they are hit onto the level 1 Vulcan to kill it. Last round, especially the Vulcan on the left-hand side with the bubble, was just soaking up all of these Arclight damage. And we're going to see this happening probably once again. Nope, the crawler actually moved forward just a little bit. Once this crawlers disappear, I think the Arclight is just going to focus on the bubble.
Yeah, and it looks like we got an okay-ish lock on the left side. A lot of damage coming in onto that Vulcan. And then we got, on the right side, but then we got this Vulcan immediately getting popped on the left side. At the second that shield goes down, one donut goes down, and somehow those crawlers on that mobile beacon got onto the tower.
Now that was a pro move.
Yeah, that was a 200 IQ move.
That was a pro move. That was the gap that shouldn't have existed if the Vulcan had range, but because it didn't, and Doxun was banking on the fact that he won't upgrade on that turn, that was the gap he found, the chink in the armor.
Man, Doxun is a dog after my own heart. You see this? He takes efficient, small unit manufacturing, and he just starts ramping stuff out. Now his tier 2 units, or his level 2 units, are basically the same cost as a level 1. You know, some slight differences here, but the thing is that as the game progresses, and I think this is a great pickup from Doxun personally, as this game progresses, right, Doxun's economical advantage just grows and grows and grows. The only downside, right, however, is that while Doxun may have this huge economy snowball moving down the hill now, Measim slamming giants. And if you've ever had a bad round against giants, you know that's all it takes sometimes, and you will die. So it's a little spooky here. We see a whole suite of Arclights coming out. I have no idea what to make of Doxun's board, I'll be honest, but I love it. I think he's cooking up something really special for us. How do you feel about what's going on?
There's a real opportunity for Doxun here to use loose on these crawlers.
Ooh.
Even though the Vulcan has that 15-meter splash, but now their range with loose, for every time it splashes, it's going to get about half of what it normally would have gotten.
Mhm.
So significantly delaying, because right now with the triple Vulcan, it's just a delay game, right? The more you can delay the Vulcans on getting to your Arclights and your Phoenixes, the higher chance you're going to have just kind of sniping them down. So maybe we'll see some loose crawlers, but I still don't know what Doxun's thinking, because at some point, these Vulcans are all going to be level 2. The one on the left-hand side is like halfway to level 3. And it's not just the damage output for a level 3 Vulcan, but the sheer amount of health on that big guy, because your level 2 or even level 3 Phoenixes are not going to be able to cut it, at least not fast enough. Extended range war factory is being offered.
That's kind of spicy, but also efficient giant manufacturing, making those giants for that elite spec a little cheaper, but instead, Doxun's going for Orbital Javelin. I think this is one of the few spells when I'm playing this sort of like Vulcan-heavy playstyle, I get really sad about seeing. It is so difficult to deal with. Both players clicking range on their marksman units at the same time. Very cool stuff. But where I was going with that is that I feel like this Vulcan comp takes a little bit to get online, but once it's there and it's rolling and that snowball is rolling down the hill, it is unstoppable. So, anything to delay that, and Orbital Jav, does a lot of damage. 70,000. It pierces shields. It doesn't care about that. If it was on any one of these level 1 Vulcans, they'd be instantly popped.
It is more of a tempo move, right? But I feel like Doxun really needs to prep for the end game, because right now Measim's kind of rolling away with this 5 Vulcan. Those 2 delayed Vulcan, late arriving Vulcan, is going to do so much damage, because by the time those 2 Vulcans walk up to the middle, there's not going to be any crawlers left, which means they're just be tanking and shooting at these Arclight. Yeah, Doxun can't let this happen. Like right now, he's on the clock. We're in round 6. There needs to be a direct response to the Vulcan, either in the form of melting point. He does not have charge shot on the Phoenixes, so which means the Phoenix are going to not scale that well into high-level Vulcans. Or, if he wants, a War Factory.
Yeah, very true. I was thinking that forts might be a solid answer here, but my God, there are so many Phoenixes, and they are chunking, and we're on that right side tower, and it goes down. I don't know if Doxun has this like incredible line of late arriving fangs or something there, but it looked like those Vulcans were killing chaff up until the last bits of the round, which is not what you want. You want them getting in on the arc lights. Yeah, no, he just has crawlers. I'm so confused.
So boats, sledgehammers, probably sledgehammers with armor. Right now we have 3 level 2 Vulcans. They don't have Scourge just yet. There's really no reason to go for Scourge right now, because it's mostly just crawlers and Arclights. The sledgehammers is going to have armor, and that is going to trigger Scourge coming from Measim's side. Second tech is actually going to be best partner. Notice that the Phoenix was just doing way too much damage last round, so it's going to get best partner. Does he have AA? He does have AA. So there's always the option to hard counter these Phoenixes later on.
True. Where I thought Doxun's turn was going here was he was going to slam down 3 more sledgehammers and click armor and blink these Vulcans. But maybe 3 blue sledgehammers is just good enough. Doxun just going to dominate the airs, though, with, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pairs of Phoenixes. That's a lot of DPS coming up from Doxun.
And he'll be up against 9 marksmen, right? You got 4 on the board, plus 5 more being produced by these Vulcans. So, I mean, still, the board looks pretty even. I mean, last round was tremendous for Doxun, but as these Vulcans scale and as they get more HP, I mean, I'm still slightly worried.
Yeah, I mean, the reality, right, is that while we had a good answer last round, we have now doubled the health of all these Vulcans over here, so things are going to get very difficult for Doxun to chew through. Still a lot of DPS, but it will slow us down. Our Phoenixes are now taking pot shots at these Vulcans. Our ground is being eviscerated by Vulcan damage. But the Vulcans are falling. The Vulcans are falling.
They are falling.
I think this round goes to Measim.
Oh, he didn't get the last. Oh, he did get the last shot. But it's a huge round, though, right? This is what I was talking about. Well, there's always the shield technology on the Phoenixes, allowing it to stay twice as long to at least finish this giant. And if Doxun can time it right, maybe with shield and like super late arriving fans, could still do something against the line of marksmen. I'm not too sure at this point. But here's the shield and a launcher overload, so he's going full on carry Phoenixes.
He's gonna try to punch everything down. I was wondering if we would see this. I was thinking after that last round, the thing that I would have really liked to see out of Doxun is shield this round, and I did see him running launcher overload. I kind of wish this was charge shot personally, but yeah, I think we got some cool stuff going on here. Measim also adds on Scorch to his Vulcan, so whatever was on the ground already is going to get absolutely scorched. But a level 3 Vulcan on Measim's side and 3 level 2 Vulcans as well. That's spooky, man. That's really spooky. This sort of feels like the snowball is at full speed down the hill, and it's going to be really tough to stop.
Yeah, and it's a rough round here for Doxun because Oil just came back out of cooldown. So we're going to have Oil, we're going to have Orbital. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and Orbital is, while it's a symmetrical spell, and both players can take it, it uniquely favors Measim, right? Measim can have all of his guys underneath the bubbles and very comfortable, but you can't have that for the Phoenixes. The Phoenixes will be exposed to those missiles from the orbital bombardment. And
sure.
I don't see any Phoenixes on the right side anymore, and this looks overwhelming for Measim.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about. The moment you got level 3 Vulcans, your level 3 Phoenixes they don't work that well anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, what an exciting game. I mean, they really had us on the edge of our seats because Doxun had a real chance. I think if he didn't take that third tag with the launcher overload, but instead kind of divest into something a bit more tanky, I still think the War Factory could work here. Melter might be a little too late because you're already so heavily into Phoenixes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good try, though.
I think there might have been some tempo lost here with not going armor, but at the same time, I think we need to be slamming down forts and shields too.
Yeah.
To deal with what's going on here. But first round goes to Measim, and Doxun is knocked down to the loser's bracket.
Welcome to round 1 of Dev Pro Tournament. Dzemp near side, blue, the third place finisher in this week's weekend tournament European. Crazyfish far side red, the Asia rookie group champion this week. So 2 players with success already this in the last week or so. The Dzemp supply specialist is in the top 20 in the world on 2 different accounts. Has Arclight and Sledgehammer, adds a pair of crawlers, kind of standard formation, where they will shotgun behind towers. Crazyfish does, I like this, the outside positioned Stormcaller. Crazyfish is an aerial specialist, which gives increased hit points and attack 13% buff to all your air units, plus all the air units unlock for free. So a lot of players will throw down round 1 wasps. Crazyfish decided not to do that, building a much more traditional board with the 2 fangs behind towers that'll be in this flank screening positions. I like the storms outside of towers. Those don't get distracted by...
the inside running crawlers.
Yeah, the running crawler piece.
So, if I'm not mistaken, there was a little blurb about each of the 8 players in the tournament, and I think Crazyfish is a Stormcaller enjoyer. So, I would not be surprised if we see a gratuitous amount of Stormcallers by the end of this game. Just as an early prediction. Alright. Early items are always powerful due to the drops. Free shield every round is good. ER Vulcan is really good, particularly in a standard v standard kind of match like this. There's a lot to like here.
Yeah, extended range Vulcan.
Really tough.
Great pick for Crazyfish, I think. I would love to see it for Dzemp as well, but he's gone for armor. So something is going to be buff. Armor downgraded.
Now he'll put it on a sludge.
Armor
Probably gets sold.
Yeah, armor was downgraded from a 100% increase to an 80% increase, and sledges aren't usually the best place for it. Steel balls, a traditional home, and giants, of course. But for right now, it's going to keep them alive in underneath the Stormcallers, which may allow them to do a whole lot of additional work. Dzemp adds 3 crawlers at the back line. We've got our first... well, 1 more Fang in front, and then our first use of the Aerial Specialist, a free unlock for these Phoenix. And there's
no upshoot for Dzemp.
Nothing that shoots up at all on Dzemp's board, so the Phoenix should win the round. Pretty much by guarantee. Flying is cheating. Every sledge player knows flying is cheating.
Right.
What do you want to see Dzemp do to answer the Phoenix, Titan?
Well, he doesn't have the range on Vulcan, so Vulcan Mirror does not favor him because range is so powerful in that lineup. So, in my mind, playing from standard when the opponent has Storms and ER Vulcan is behind. If I'm thinking about being Dzemp, I wouldn't mind seeing a ER Sledge card, and it could actually turn into a Sledge carry build. I know that would make you happy.
It certainly would.
Other than that, I think a very classic option of like, I could see this being a standard OG Melter board. Could be really strong. I'm honestly not really sure what direction Dzemp goes, because he's kind of ceded the better Vulcan position. And he's also not the one leading into Storms, so I'll be curious that he's not taking the lines that I would take.
Yeah, Crazyfish is in the classic Vulcan Phoenix Storm right now, where you're using the Stormcallers as your long-range engagement, the Vulcan as your chaff clear, and then this Phoenix as your single target damage dealer. It's really, really strong formation overall, because you wind up with, once your chaff is gone, your Vulcan tanks for everything else. The Storms and Phoenix sit behind the Vulcan and deal damage from range. If you get to the point that somebody is shooting at your Phoenix and your Stormcallers, you've kind of lost that engagement. Here are the techs on the Storms. You can see he took 1 more Storm and 1 more Fang, and then managed to block.
That was a good bubble.
Yeah, managed to throw down a bubble, decided to throw it down at the very last moment to get that fire blocked, and he just managed to pick the correct side. Although, to be fair, it's not just picking the correct side. He said, I'm going to kill the chaff on the one side. If I were my opponent, I'd be dropping it on the side that I have the extra, that I have the Phoenix on. So,
right.
It's not just a guess. Read where Dzemp was like...
What I'm really curious about...
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Unfortunately, the bubble does pop, which means he paid extra for a round by 100, so even though it was good in blocking the fire, if it didn't massively change the outcome of the round or stick around, it's down on econ on the net.
Right. And if I've learned anything, it's giving away Econ to a player at the 2,000 plus MMR
Yep.
level. I do not tend to win. Personally.
Right. Every dollar matters at that level. 100%. Okay, so we have the drop. Ooh, 4 blue man group. That's really, really strong here.
That is gotta
I think
be
that's what
Dzemp is
Dzemp takes.
taking, right?
Right.
Single target for whatever the Vulcan when it comes.
I mean, it's got your birds. Right.
Yeah, and the
It
birds.
gives you so much. Yeah, it's just the correct answer here, I think.
Yep. For Crazyfish, he took the new unit, the Farseer, a new unit in the 0.9 release. Brings out his 2 Vulcans. I think he sold the Farseer.
He did, in order to afford the unlock double drop.
Mm-hmm. So he spent 200 to unlock them, 400 apiece to drop them. You've got a card to enhance them, so they're extended range. So 35% less hit points, so they're a little bit fragile once the opponent gets into range of them. But they've got 115 meter range, and they're already doing 1,000 DPS. That will only get better over time as they gain levels into techs.
That extra range is really powerful because it means that with the range tech, they can simply be out of range of the things that would want to EMP them, which can sometimes be your best go-to answer to shut down them. Because they get really hard carried by their techs. That said, the ranged marksmen still outrange them, and blue marksmen are no pushovers.
Right, these blue marksmen can actually stand up to a hit. They have 3,700 hit points. And with range, they're out at 180 meters already. So Dzemp, in addition to taking them, spends the tech to upgrade them. That can be really powerful if you've got that round 3 or round 4 drop, having a tech on that new unit right away.
Right. I think Crazyfish would have been well served to take the marksman as well, potentially. I know he already had the bird, and it was a little bit against his intention there, but 4 blue marksmen is such a tempo swing.
Yep. They both took the additional deployment. For Crazyfish, it's I've already brought my giants out, so now I just want to be dropping more of them. For Dzemp,
oh boy!
Look, I want marksman. I'm going for a full carry marksman build here. He elite recruited and used mass recruit. So
4 of them.
Elite recruit lets you bring them in at level 2, and mass recruit adds 1 to your the number of squads that you're allowed to bring in. He had 3 from the additional deployment, so he brings out 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across the back line, and they're all level 2, and they have range.
Remember how I said I wasn't sure what angle he would take, and it would be the drop that defined it? Well, 2 turns after, drop plus 1, and we now have 8 level 2 units with a tech.
Yep. Dzemp playing the game exactly as you read it. He's also added a storm. I think the storm was last round, right?
Yes, because he masked this round.
Yeah.
So this game is now formally a range war.
It was from the beginning, but yes.
Yes.
It was from Dzemp's opening position, honestly, and Crazyfish being as deep as he was.
I could always see a round 3 to round 4 cells and pivots and go into kind of like a push position. Which is something I thought Dzemp might entertain. Ooh, Dzemp takes the fortress from standard. Interesting.
I'm interested to see where he's playing that. If it was to sell, he'd sell the Overlord, right? And
maybe.
Crazyfish takes the first 3 Scorpions, who's got the most money to play with. Just sold it, right? 600 sale value.
Range Scorch.
Yep, using it to fund
so
two techs here. These guys now have a 155 meter range and do 1900 DPS. If you're wondering, wait, I thought Scorch was plus 100%, and you're wondering why it's not adding up to 2000. The difference is the plus 10%, it's actually plus 12% off the tower, which bumped them from 90 to 100 damage. and then the plus 100% is plus their original 90% than the compared.
Hammerock, we may be slightly different in audio volumes.
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether I'm loud or short.
Is it me that is too loud, Soup Pirate, or is it Alpha? It's Alpha. I'll bring you back down there.
Alrighty. Well, there is fire on the ground.
Thanks for the sound check. I really appreciate it. Obviously,
Yes,
we're not
absolutely.
listening to ourselves, so getting that loud.
Marksmen
and
are getting
appreciated.
kicked.
Yep, the marksmen are just deleting this board right now. And of course, fire on the ground really helped for taking care of the chaff. And
Right.
that drops Crazyfish down to 1264.
There's a lot of levels here. Ooh, a mass EMP is really, really clutch. I think that, Crazyfish absolutely should take it. I'd also really like to see Dzemp take the elite marksman, because that every ounce of range is going to make a huge difference. I think that if he loans elite marksmans, that could be a closeout.
I'm going to hide panel so we can see what Dzemp is doing.
Dzemp is deleting chaff on the left, deleting techs on the right.
Incendiary came back, so both of them have the incendiary up. Crazyfish
There
taking plenty
is-
of time thinking, did eventually decide on the electromagnetic blast.
Range place for the fire, in my opinion. There's not a lot of fast chaff, and everything gets pulled to the towers. I think that's mostly dead space.
Right.
And there is the elite on the marksman as well, like I was asking for a temp range. These marksmen now have 210 range, outranging the storms themselves. And if this goes another round, which I doubt, then you get EMAG on them next, and I think that's pretty much GG. With this much fire on the ground from both sides having firestorms, chaff isn't going to work.
Yeah.
There are some wasps.
Wasps to distract is a good idea, but I do feel like this is scaled out of control.
Right.
There's no great answer to the wasps, though. Hopefully those will buy Crazyfish another round. Fortunately, they are getting all the way up and running into the fangs.
Things. Mm-hmm. Those marksmen pack a wall up once they get level 2 to 3 with the elite.
That looks like that is really close, but not quite enough.
I think there's one more.
Crazyfish staying alive. 334 hit points and a dream. Of course, this tournament is double elimination, so losing this first round match
Right.
just means we will be following Crazyfish into the second round, if that is the way it goes, where they'll pick up one of the players from the other side of the bracket, I believe.
This is tough. I don't think melting point's to pick here. I think Crazyfish probably needed Rhino Cash or Sandworm, because the melting points just won't outrange the marksman, and they make for good targets.
Right,
For
they're
the
large,
marksman.
large single damage targets, right? What
Mhm.
he's gone for is range. He's going to put them opposite the fort, which, I mean, it's understandable. But Dzemp has just accepted the fort as a large deploy. It's not doing
Right.
a ton, it's just soaking damage. He's literally just allowing it to be a hit point sponge. It's only done 18,000 damage all game.
I kind of thought he should have sold it, actually. I think it's underperformed relative to the 600 credit value it represents, but if it baited out Melter, then it's done its job.
True, and he never did unlock Cell, so he's never moved the heavy armor either. So I was kind of
No,
imagining
that's also true.
I was imagining a unlock Cell, sell the sledge, put heavy armor on the fort, and that would for sure bait out the Melter, right? But
Right.
he's not gone that route.
This is
at
my
all.
This is my favorite way for Dzemp to answer the wasp, by the way, by range and air. Zemp's only anti-air is his own wasps or Phoenix. And so these wasps being double tagged like this, even if Crazyfish doubled down on wasps of his own, that unless he really teched them, they would just lose.
Right, these will sit back. Zemp's wasps will sit back just far enough out of range to tank, and then they run up and they become the late arriving air chaff that Crazyfish had hopes to have himself. Of course,
right.
The Vulcans can't even target them. What can Vulcans not do? They don't look up.
Yep. Yeah, I think trying to tech those forts was definitely the wrong direction. Manitou, I think that realistically that probably was just a paycheck that was on board. But yeah, that was just a marksman clean.
Yeah, they look up, they just look very sad. As Titan was trying to say that I interrupted, it was a clean sweep with marksman. Dzemp waited until the drop on round 4 and committed hard to them. Titan called it out even before he'd done it, and then pointed out that he had bought the techs immediately. And we saw him go elite, mass recruit, drop 4 more, boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden you're sitting there with 8 marksmen, all of them level 2, and they've got range, so they're out at 180 meters. At that point, your only defense is to get something out in front of them and make sure that they're wasting their shots. They only shoot every 3.1 seconds. You need to make sure they're wasting their shots on tiny units. And with the fire on the ground, the arc lights, the sledges, Dzemp was able to do enough to have a chaff clear. The chaff cleared, I guess I should say. And even has the ability to throw down if he was ever losing the chaff war, he can throw down some frontline crawlers to have this fire drop a lot closer to Crazyfish's line and have that burn his own chaff as it arrives. So.
There were 27 levels worth of marksmen on Dzemp's board.
Yikes. It is worth taking a look at his overall formation. He does have a solid chaff in addition to the marksman. He's using these mid-late level fangs. So they're not getting out in front. They're not charging into range for the Vulcans. The crawlers get out there very early. There's 5 of them. They get out there very early and tank some early shots from the melters and the Phoenix. But the fangs are kind of the late arriving chaff, and they don't run out into the fire, which is something kind of neat. Yapuchi was kind of infamous for running almost this fang board and then again behind them, just to make sure he's always got some chaff in the late game. So really nicely
it's interesting.
The only chaff being offered is a giant specialist, and he does pick that one. Steelsane looking at perhaps a Farseer specialist. Cost control actually will be the choice. Cost control, crawler, tarantula versus giant specialist fang tarantula. And Hello is setting up so far symmetrically and a bit of a standard formation. Fangs in front of and behind towers with 20-meter gaps for perhaps squad-based units there. Tarantulas out to the sides, and still contemplating what that first round unlock and pickup will be. Steelsane unlocking and buying a pair of marksmen on his cost control, floating the 100 bonus for the round. Hello also unlocking and buying marksmen, so this could be a bit of a mirror, the only difference between them being, of course, the specialist difference and the chaff, crawlers versus fangs. But cost control crawlers are a little weaker. Maybe the fangs can defend them well.
Yeah, is there any interactions there that you're aware of? Just arc lights, as far as I can remember.
I believe the breakpoint changes have made it so that arc lights, cost control arc lights can cover crawlers, and obviously non-cost control arc lights can cover the cost control crawlers. But they're ready. Hello setting up both marksmen on one side, looking to win that side harder. Both marksmen and the extra fang on the same side. And then just going to sacrifice the other side, see how long he can hold. The tarantulas are locking each other with marksmen helping out. So both sides going to have a little bit of chaff alive, but Hello losing both tarantulas with that final shot from the marksman means it'll be tough to clear those crawlers, but the marksman kind of coming around the sides looks like they will win the round for Hello, with Fangs helping out against the crawlers.
So just a quick note is they do not allow spectating of this
Okay. Well,
this game, so I'll be watching your stream.
all right. Well, we'll have to. Yeah, I think Uncle Lazy sent out the invites and then left the room, leaving Hello as host, and then Hello doesn't have everyone followed, so he wasn't able to invite you. And I didn't want to.
No worries.
They were asking if they should start, and I don't want to delay the tournament, so I just said, yeah, start.
It's all good.
All right, so the first card pickup showing up, Missile Strike available, ER Vulcan, relevant for standard, Hello is the giant specialist, improved War Factory,
Yeah.
also
that's what
somewhat
my eyes
relevant,
went to.
he's going for it. I am a big believer in improved War Factory. Steelsane just wants the tempo with the Missile Strike and adds Stormcallers, which feels like an obvious choice.
How good do you feel like improved War Factory is? Is it almost like a snap pick for you?
It is almost a snap pick for me, but that's usually an aggro. It's sort of insane in aggro because of the extra range, health, and firing rate are all really good with the launcher overload tricks. In standard, what it does for you is it neutralizes, or it sort of unnerfs its range versus Scorpion. So you're beating Scorpion with your range, so like Acid Scorp is less of a threat. But Hello, already just going to immediately sell out and switch to Vulcan. These are not extended range, these are just normal tanky Vulcans. And he throws it down on his weaker side to shore up that side and see if he can win it. But the Stormcallers from Steelsane, an excellent call out, destroying all of his slow units. So pretty even game so far, pretty low damage going either way, and it may stay that way. We have our first unit drops. Fortress, level 3 Wasp, Melting Point, and 3 level 1 Fire Badgers. Hello, snap picking the Wasp. It harasses the Steelsane's board well, and nothing here really answers it well, at least not without a tech, except for the mirror. Steelsane, giving it some thought. Perhaps it'll be the 3 Fire Badgers for him. Perhaps the Melting Point, being that he has cost control against Giant Spec, and he has 2 Stormcallers already, could lead him towards that Melting Point comp. Giving it a bit of a think. In the meantime, we'll see what Hello's doing. Putting the Wasps in the back, behind the Vulcan side. Steelsane is going to go with the Melting Point. It lines up nicely with the Vulcan that's already on the board. So it's just a very sensible choice. But once he sees that Wasp, he'll have to figure out what he's doing about it.
Yeah, what is your instinct for how to handle Wasps nowadays? I feel like it's always a tricky answer, right?
Yeah, so my instinct is still Mustangs.
Yeah.
A lot of people will tell you that the Worm is the counter to Mustangs that are meant to handle Wasps. You get the Sandstorm and it will mess them up.
Yeah.
But I think it really just depends on who's ahead on the rest of the board and what tricks you can do to keep the Mustangs safe. But Steelsane does add some Fangs, so we will have at least a little bit of Wasp clear, but not enough for level 3s. And Hello matching the Stormcallers makes a lot of sense. Bit of a standard game so far. Wasps arriving at perfect time, and Hello not losing the left so hard this time without that Missile Strike. Oh, and he just takes the Melting Point down in time to then clear the chaff and even that side out. But Steelsane does win the left side, which Hello hasn't invested more into, so it's starting to put some damage on.
Did you get an MMR on Hello?
I did not. Wow, it offers ER Vulcan again. I did not. I think someone who said they were 1600 said that they lost to him. I don't remember who. And Bearlike is 1800 and claimed to be the lowest MMR dev. The combat power was like 96,000, but I don't know if he plays on a different account.
Okay.
Forgotten Arbiter in chat says hello is definitely high up. And looking at the play, like all of his plays are very sensible.
Yeah.
And Erdnot says hello is like 2.1 to 2.2k. So this must just not be the main account if it's was only like 90k combat power.
Okay.
But hello, Snap picked that extended range Vulcan. And
Yeah, how do you feel about the nerf on extended range?
I think it's completely fair and justified and has been a long time coming. And I think it's still a very good card.
Okay.
Like, extended range Sledgehammer, for example, very good. It reduces the damage of your unit, whereas ER Vulcan, you still keep your full damage. Like, it's still better than most other ER cards in terms of getting to keep all the damage and only losing some health.
So, Steelsane still hasn't really answered the Wasps yet. It's just like, I got a few delayed fangs, a marksman, some melters. That'll kill this one pack, which I think is a very smart answer. Not answering it yet.
Yeah, I would
Maybe the
agree
right
with that.
answer.
Sort of wait to see if they invest in it, wait to see if you get a drop that just answers it for free.
Yeah. Yeah, so fangs on the Wasps right now, doing an alright job.
Yeah, and it continues to just be pretty even rounds.
Yeah, it's the effective storms.
Yeah, so sort of the nice thing about a Stormcaller game, if you will, is that it gives you more time to figure out your entire comp because so many rounds will boil down to low damage.
Yep.
So we get the next pickups. Hello, immediately opting for Orbital. Steelsane giving it a think, but also grabbing it.
What are you taking here?
I'm probably doing the same thing as Steelsane, thinking about the laser sight and then ultimately skipping it. The nice thing for Hello, though, is that because Steelsane also has the Missile Strike coming up this turn, you know that your shields are going to get at least some value, or that it's reasonable to bubble. Whereas Steelsane might be wasting shields if he shields here and the Orbital doesn't come and it's instead a laser sight on a Vulcan. But Hello now has the 4 Stormcaller array, Vulcan on each side, and a Marksman on each side. And just one more... He sold out of the Wasp, just decided Wasp isn't it, and has one more Tarantula left to sell out of.
Ironically, the Missile Strike is going to get maximum value.
Yeah.
It's like the bubble maybe not optimized against... Or taking a risk and getting punished for it, I guess you could say. Steelsane not putting down any bubbles. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess he feels that most of his units can't be killed by a Missile Strike except for some chaff, and yeah, he could lose a Stormcaller. But he doesn't need the Stormcallers because he has other damage and other chaff clear.
I think the flip side of the coin is there's almost no way the bubble goes down. Steelsane board.
Yeah.
Just with how rounds have been going. So you might be able to get some extended value out of it.
Yeah, if there's another spell next turn.
Looking good. Yeah, won anyways. He made the right prediction with the Missile Strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, won the round without bubbling.
And here's
Down
the
2
next
bubbles.
drop. It's a Snap Typhoon pick for Hello.
Interesting.
And he sells one of them, though, and just puts the other 2 late, perhaps to play around any late Wasps that might come down, because his comp isn't that great into them, I suppose. While Steelsane picking up the worms and putting them in the far back corner. I've seen him do this in Standard. Oh, maybe changing his mind a little bit on the positioning. I gotta zoom out more.
That's sort of wild. I've never seen worms positioned like this.
Yeah, if you're playing standard, you can put them late like this. They'll cover flanks, except air, obviously, and they come in late after the opponent's board has been softened up a little bit, and they can clean up. And unlike a late Rhino, they're burrowed until they get in. Yeah. So they can't just take a bunch of free damage on their way into the board.
Yep. I think if Steelsane wins this round, he's got to be up massive, right? Because he doesn't play around the spell again. He should lose hard from that perspective.
Yeah.
See what the worm can do.
Yeah, there's not much on this board that can kill a worm right now. The Melter is going to go down to the Storms, but it's not going to go down. Wow, not even close. I was looking at the wrong health bar.
Yeah.
So solid round for Steelsane, and Hello is now in you must win every round from now on mode.
Yeah, this seems fairly dire. You just had your oil turn and you got smoked.
Yeah, Hello skipping the EMAG as well.
Whoa, that is ballsy. He's on 1 HP effectively, and he says, nah, I don't need this spell. It's fine.
It is time for the War Factories to come out.
Oh, baby.
And Ball Summoning. But one of them is going to get hit by this EMAG.
Ball Summoning. Have you seen that?
Ball and Sledge. We can see the text. It's actually kind of very similar to the text I run. 2 summonings, launcher range, photon, anti-missile. I don't expect it to be summoning when it's improved War Factory. I think of the improvements as scaling with the stats and launcher range being what you want. But the EMAG Blast, devastating here.
Yeah.
The 4 bubbles, devastating as well.
Making the wrong call, Steelsane making the right call on spells.
Yeah. So the factories may be able to clear these worms out, but the late fangs are arriving and getting cleared by storms now, so there's nothing to protect the remaining board from storm colors and melters. Except for the production lines, I suppose.
Yep.
The Ball and Sledge Prod kind of doing work, but Melter does lock on. Yeah. Melters lock on both sides. That is a level 3 Melter. It's not going to go down to storms. And that will do it. Clean game for Steelsane. I think only losing that first round.
Looking, extremely clean. 2200 MMR from Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so it is just high MMR, low combat power. Just not playing the account that much. Or maybe donating combat power in the free-for-all mode. Who knows?
Perhaps. Okay, so I was doing some quick napkin math on the double War Factory, double tech.
Mm-hmm.
And he must have floated a huge amount to afford that, right? 1,800 for the War Factories alone. Techs bring it up to what, 23-ish?
Yeah, I did notice the money number go to around 23 when because he didn't even loan here, when he sold the Typhoon.
Okay, so he sold the Typhoon, but he must have still floated. It's round 7, so he had $1,400.
Yeah,
and he spent $2,400.
Yeah, because these are 1,000 each. The unlock was free because he's giant spec. But yeah, these are improved War Factories. That is a huge amount. It's like 2,400, 2,500.
So he's been building around this for a while, I guess. He did the classic shift a huge amount, hoping that he'd be able to turn it all around. Upon reflection, I forgot that he took improved War Factory. Upon reflection, I actually sort of hate the double prod improved War Factory.
Yeah, like, that's what I meant. Like, you want the text that use the weapon, right?
Exactly. that's where the value's at, is launcher and range. So bit of a head scratcher at the very least.
Yeah, but let's talk about Steelsane's winning board. It's range tarantulas, which, you know, could get outscaled late game, but do a pretty good job of clearing the chaff early.
Yep.
He has 5 of them, plus the Stormcallers. Just a couple marksmen from his early board. The Melter on each side, one of them was from the drop, and then the Sandworms on each side, one was from the drop. A standard array of crawler chaff, 3 fangs, and then 1 forward crawler. Just to his forward crawler, I suppose, gets to follow the enemy beacon crawler and sort of be his own beacon crawler without having to actually beacon. And he does have the advanced aiming system, giving him that range edge on the storms, the marksmen, the melting points. And it helps out the tarantulas a bit, making them 140 range. Still 30 below the Vulcans, but it's a pretty solid range for a tarantula.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking at his board, and it almost seems unremarkable.
Yeah,
right?
it's just clean. Like, you might have had this board in mind, not even paying too much attention to what the opponent's doing. Like, he has his melters on the outside to match the outside Vulcan. And his tarantulas are reasonably lined up with chaff, but it's pretty expected chaff positioning.
Yep. I would have assumed, and Arbiter was talking in chat, sort of thinking that Hello was gonna pull ahead at some point. If I recall reading that comment correctly, as soon as he took extended range Vulcan, and yeah, just never really went the way I was expecting.
Yeah,
right?
Steelsane had the opportunity to add more storms and go fire, and especially once these war factories are double teched, you're not as worried about anti-missile. At least you're getting a good trade-off with that, and perhaps add a few more melters. But maybe it's eventually difficult for him to kill the production from the war factories.
Yeah, I misquoted Arbiter, but yeah, he said Scorch and loose formation
does
would have
not
been
run
strong.
Scorch.
Whoa.
And he does not run loose formation. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any world where this is an old account from Hello and he did the classic go on to old account, forget to adjust your text?
It's possible.
That's why we're not seeing these texts. Maybe that might have been it.
It is possible. I don't know if these are the default tarantula texts or not. If it was, you would expect to see default.
I know what I would pick on Sacco's side. I would go fortified specialist every day.
You would go fortified? I would actually eyeball that giant specialist. I would pick that, trade out the tarantula for a Vulcan later on, and just run with it. On
Bearlike's side?
Bearlike's side. I would lean towards the elite.
Yeah, I would have leaned towards elite as well, but he's gone Rhino.
This is one of my aversion things. The specialists, I don't like the starter. I think that the Rhino specialist kind of needs a little bit of a buff personally, but if Bearlike's picking it, we'll see.
He likes it, yeah. Okay. So Sacco's gone quick supply. He likes the early tempo for sure. Tarantulas and snipers? Well, Bearlike's got Rhino with steel balls and crawlers. So he's going for an aggressive opener. We'll see if he goes asymmetrically or if he plays a balanced board.
For reference, we've got Bearlike in the top with the Marksman Tarantula, Sacco on the bottom part with the Steel Ball Crawler. Seeing the asymmetrical aggro as the card foretold on Sacco's side.
Yeah, Sacco full out aggro. Very exposed with his crawlers here. It's almost like missile bait.
I wonder if he's got some sort of plan because of the tarantula. He just wants those to... He's trying to find a balance to have the tarantula not shoot at the crawlers, and the marksmen shoot at the...
He's just picked up some wasps. Turn 1 wasps.
Whoa, alright, he has.
Quick supply specialist flexing already. But Bearlike has snipers.
I do think there's still a chance for Bearlike snipers to have the time that they need. He just has... his strong side is on the wrong side.
Yeah, it's 1 sniper light on this left side.
Primarily because Sako does not have chaff clear. He has a lot of single target things, but does not have dedicated chaff clear, so it might just give him time for those marksmen to do their job, but it's still going to be a challenge. The tower's going to be going down shortly.
Wasp getting distracted though. The steel balls will get the job done.
They're just too tanky. And the Wasp's not even getting touched. Strong start, but not a surprise when you have quick supply.
Try and ride the tempo for the whole game now. Will he keep the wasp? Will he go jump drive on them? Will he sell them? He does not run jump drive. Wow.
Just checking his tech now. He does not have jump drive.
Interesting.
Are we going to see both sides grab the laser sight, or are we going to see something else happening? Elite Fang, perhaps, and do a Fang carry? I don't think so. I think it's going to be laser sight for both.
Yeah, I think it's either skip or laser sight for sure. And I think laser sight is so strong, you can't miss it here.
Skip on round 2 is very tempting, though, because it does allow the unlock and getting 200 costs.
Yeah,
but laser sight is just so powerful.
For the Mustang unlock, I think. But no, got a laser sight pickup.
Yeah, laser sight with Bearlike. I think we're going to see a Mustang with that laser sight. Both of them did get the laser.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wouldn't be surprised with the laser. Yep, laser sight on the Wasp. He's anticipating Mustangs as well. He's trying to get some sort of parity with range.
Wasps are such a short-range unit by default. The extra 20 meters from the laser sight is proportionally so important. Oh, he's doubling down. Even more wasps.
More wasps.
And a missile, a cheeky missile off the bat.
Will that missile hit the steel ball? I think it will actually hit the steel ball, which is key. Those are the level 2s. Those are the ones that are going to tank for those wasps.
He spent 100 on missiles in turn 2.
Massive investment for turn 2. I tend to not go towards any consumables at all. I don't like the economic disadvantage. But then again, I get out-tempoed all the time because of it.
I play greedy as well. I'm a value player. Steel ball locking onto the tarantula. It's not going to survive, though.
It died. It is a very large number of wasps. Very, very few marksmen to deal with them. This is his window.
The backdoor crawlers.
He'll have one more tower kill shortly.
2 snipers remaining versus this many wasps. Surely not.
No, they're not getting that tower in time. The wasps still controlling the battlefield.
So what would you go here? Would you unlock Mustang? Or would you sit back and go Fang?
Well, he passed on the level 3 Fang, the Elite Fang. I am still favoring Mustang, but I would have picked it last turn. And just go ahead and put the
Wraith
range
is an
on
option. Mass-produced Wraith on the cards. But no, absorption module straight away for Sako.
Wraith?
Onto a Wraith?
Onto a Wraith, yep. I was going to say Wraith with Steel Ball Rush here is actually quite potent as well, because now it's going to be tanking for the Wasps, so the anticipated Mustangs are going to struggle.
It's going to provide that chaff clear that he was lacking that you were talking about 2 rounds ago.
Absolutely.
But Bearlike's going to assault marksman. Ooh, quite
Assault
deep
marksman.
positioning there.
He's decided that the marksmen are going to be able to be his chaff clear after all.
And will he drop the laser sight on one of them?
I think that's appropriate. You can't have that laser sight sit for too long here when you're losing rounds.
Yeah, you want to get some value from it fast.
Surely Sako's going to level up the Wasp with the laser sight on it. Wasps need those levels to carry.
Sako's out of money. He's spent everything he's got.
Perhaps he would have planned on it, but the absorption module was just too tempting. He had to grab it.
Yeah, and the Wraith unlock's expensive as well.
It is only round 3.
Yeah, we're flanking assault marksman bottom left as well.
We do. I think the assault marksman is not going to make it this round. He's got Yeah, he's already down, but he did pull that chaff out of position. Will it be enough?
Had a cheeky missile, but it only got 2 crawlers. No. Bearlike feeling the pressure.
That economic disadvantage is going to punish him later, too.
He spent 150 on missiles and it's availed him nothing.
Yeah, to spend on it and to still lose the round, it hurts. Yeah. Tower going down while everything's still engaged. This is a massive turn for Sako. Tempo is not slowing, it's actually increasing.
I would not like to be in Bearlike's position here.
Now, if you were, what would be your what would be your answer?
I would sell that Rhino and grab a Farseer instantly.
Sell the Rhino, yeah, the
Double
Farseer
Mustangs
choice.
is not bad. There we go. There's the Farseer pickup.
Farseer pickup, probably put that range that he has been holding on to still, I believe.
Yeah.
Onto it.
He's a more
and just get several more of them.
He's kept the Rhino. Okay, he's trying to do a flanking attempt at the bottom left with the Rhino and the Assault Marksman together to get through the crawls that are defending the tower.
He's also he's flanking the other side as well, which has fewer chaff. And the forward-facing marksman to pull the chaff after all.
Range on the marksman, he is full command. Route 1 Mechabellum. Assault marksman everywhere.
Laser sight on the Farseer as well as the backup to take out that air.
Another missile! Another missile! He spent 200 on missiles in the first 4 rounds.
Not an insignificant portion of his income. Sako picking up the Mustangs, probably just to have some insurance against chaff.
I can believe it. Cover both towers with them, surely? Yeah, there we go.
There he goes.
Won't be enough to kill that assault marksman, though.
Oh, he sold the Wasp.
Hey.
Doubling down on the Steel Ball Wraith.
And
that
the laser sight
laser sight on the Wraith, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. That will be enough to kill the assault marksman now.
Just noticing that Bearlike also has Shooting Squad on those marksmen as well. I'm kind of interested to see if he'll get to play it. And we did see just the loose formation should be very punishing towards the Assault Marksman as well.
Yep, good investment. Which Bearlike would have had the same money for, but he spent it on missiles.
Exactly.
Oh no!
No, another single.
No crawlers.
Oh.
Bearlike, what's going on? Steel balls latching onto these assault marksmen. Oh, but they're getting picked off. And the Farseer doing so much work.
Farseer doing a lot of work. Will it overcome the healing
yes. Oh.
donut over there? It did. Bearlike, with the turn of the round, perhaps even of tempo.
Yeah, was not expecting that.
Sako now has to invest on all 3 sides that are his weak sides if he wants to compete.
Does he invest in a set of steel balls to answer the Rhino flank? Or do you assume it's going to get sold? Do you tech your Wraiths? It's still very early in the game. He's only got 700 to spend. More steel balls? Yep,
more
he's
steel
covering the
ball.
Rhino flank. And does Bearlike level the Assault Marksman? Or does he pressure with more chaff as well to cover them?
He has leveled them. Oh, and we're seeing the mech division combined with the loose formation.
The steel balls are going to have babies. And they're not going to be friendly.
The other Wasp has gone away. We're full commit to what you see on the board.
And a headbutt straight into the Assault Marksman with 4 steel balls straight off the bat. That Assault Marksman is dead.
Yeah, those Assault Marksmen probably are going to start... Yep, we're starting to see things get sold. The Rhino got sold. I think one by one, all of those flanks are going to get sold. He's going to refocus back on that same strong side.
Surprised he's still got the tarantulas.
Time permitting, I bet he's selling those too, because he's not leveled them.
No levels, no tax. Why even keep them? The Assault Marksman did the same job but better. I guess he might need them to deal with the crawlers now, though.
150 more credits spent on missiles.
Yep. The loose formation makes the tarantula splash worth nothing. Can he hold the fort with those missiles? I think he might, you know. Is it worth it in the long run? Because you're sacrificing power in the late game board for just temporary missiles that are gone in one turn.
I think Bearlike is hoping that the last turn gave him the tempo he needed, and he can hopefully close out the game in short order before all this economic disadvantage really punishes him.
He's leveled up the assault marksmen, so they're scaling up. Sacco's running out of steam. He needs something to burn through this.
Yeah, leveled marksmen do handle steel ball quite well. But this is the change in the game. We've got Fortress.
Oh.
I'm actually rather surprised. I'm rather surprised Sacco went Fortress and not Sandworm there. But then again, I guess he could just do range forts and handle those marksmen just fine.
I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Sandworm into Assault Marksman, because it pops out of the ground and the Assault Marksman blast it with the shotgun. At best you trade 1 for 1, which is a losing trade. Ooh. Instant barrier pickup on the fortresses. Extra effective health on the board.
Yeah, the Assault Marksman's special does not help at all against single targets. So the shields, the forts, this is not his favorite scenario.
And we're seeing the players say GG, but who won?
With giants on the field, there's plenty of damage either way.
Got cheeky missiles yet again. Every round so far, Bearlike's played 2 or 3 missiles. Does he know something we don't? Big worm sitting in the back line. Have you clicked OBS by any chance?
No, I was just responding in chat. My apologies.
No worries, no worries.
We did see a development though with the degen beam on the Wraith, along with those,
Yep.
along with the worm.
Degen Wraith beats normal Wraith every day of the week, even with the absorption module. And there's the worm.
There's the worm, level 2 worm, making its presence known. There's no tech on it.
But it's just so big. Look at its health. 111,000 health. The baby fort stands no chance. 2 bites and it's gone. Oh. Sliced in half by the pincers. Just
And with this-
Farseer.
Yeah, the
Dominating
Farseer,
the battlefield.
second most damage for the round, top damage for his entire game was that Farseer in the back row with the range. And have just another little bit of look here on the battlefield. Look at some of the stats on the units. The baby fort,
Dominating.
baby fort did his top damage probably because it was shooting at the sandworm, racking up damage, just never was effective in taking it out.
That level 3 Farseer doing so much work. The Wraith just couldn't get close to it.
Yeah, the Wraith having never leveled was a major. Both Wraiths still level 1, just a major factor here. To the point where they almost need to just be sold and put those items back on the forts.
I noticed Bearlike smelled blood in the water. He took temporary range at the tower, but Sacco didn't. Sacco thought he had another round in the bag. Thought he had
Yes.
another chance.
Right, the match ended by only 1 giant's worth of health, and so it could have gone either way. We could have still been playing, and Sacco probably felt like he didn't need range or speed just yet. Speed as well, with giving his setup, would have been a major pick.
Yeah.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.